My name is Marco Julio Jorge, and I was born and raised in Hong Kong. Typical Hong Kong kid, you know, had everything I wanted. If I didn't have something, I'd cry, moan, beg for it, and I'd be given it. God had to do certain things in my life to really get my attention, because I was a stubborn, cocky, proud boy from Hong Kong. I was laid off and I got a huge severance package, and I thought, you know, great, I have lots of money to spend. I spent it all till one day it hit me, and I looked to my bank account and I literally had nothing left over. It was this moment when I realized, wow, you know, I'm worthless. I can't continue living the same lifestyle I lived, pretending to be, you know, rich and famous. I had an uncle who had it all, money, cars, fame, but one day I was playing golf with him and he collapsed. And it was that moment that I realized, wow, you could have all the materialistic possessions in the world, but the moment you lose your life, they mean nothing. He was thankfully saved, and the doctors had said if he got to hospital 10 minutes later, he would have passed away. My uncle came to Christ because of this incident, and I think that influenced me as well. A really good friend of mine invited me to INECC one day. I'd always complained about how tired and how stressed I was with the lifestyle in Hong Kong, and so she said, you know, come and join me at church. So I would go because it felt good. I'd have a very stressful week in Hong Kong working, complaining about work, and just being very angry and agitated. And that hour and a half at church where I would listen to the sermon, the pastor's words would really speak to me and really touch me. And somehow the words would relate to my week specifically. It just sort of spoke to me in a way nothing had ever spoken to me before, and sort of enriched my understanding of who God was and what Jesus had done for us. Although everything made sense and although everything spoke to me, I personally didn't experience Christ. I personally didn't know what the Holy Spirit was. I personally wasn't moved and touched by Christ. And therefore, it was very difficult for me to just accept it and become Christian based on what was said at church. And it was only until I joined a care group and I joined the Alpha course where I got to ask more questions personally and find out more about Christ and really experience God speaking to me and God touching my heart. And that Christ made me realize that I'm not as good as I thought I was, you know. There was my standards which I was meeting and I was happy with, but then there's God's standards. And with God's standards, it really makes you realize how much you're really lacking when you don't believe in God and when you don't have God in your life. And when you do have God in your life, it's like He carries you. It's difficult to say what God has done exactly to change me as a person, but it's clear that I'm a complete different person. People will say, you know, you're glowing now, you're so much happier, there's just this indescribable joy about you, and that compliment, you know, just reassures me that, you know, having God in my life really, really does elevate me to a whole new level. I think God has me on a very special path. I love helping people, and I think God will use me in a way to just really speak to people, share my testimony, and just evangelize, you know, and share this amazing feeling that He's given me with others who especially in Hong Kong really need and lack. You know, I used to always say to myself, I look on the MTR and everyone looks miserable, everyone looks stressed, everyone looks so easily agitated by the tiniest little things. And I really do believe that it's my long-term mission to try and help as many people as possible.